and we're going to upload the copy of our discussion for today in our Google Classroom para may mga mabalikan kayo at ma-review ninyo itong ating discussion. So for today, our goal is to properly discuss the accounting treatment for formation of a partnership. But before we do that, let's have a recap of what we have discussed last week. And let us present your submitted articles of partnership as your assignment. So ano ba yung mga napag-usapan natin last meeting? We have already discussed the definition of a partnership and what is a partnership. Wala, mga nag-off kayo ng camera. Yung mga pwedeng mag-on kayo. Nang nakikita ko kausap ko, okay? Huwag kayong mahihiya with your appearance. You are handsome and beautiful creations of God. So, you must be proud of your physical appearance. So, ano yung definition na, Angelo, nag-on ka na kayo. Mag-on yung iba ha. Archie, thank you for opening your camera. So, what is partnership?
Ako po, sir.
Yes, Jashi. Yes, Jashi, what is partnership?
Partnership is a partnership contract what two or more persons bind themselves to contribute money, property, or industry to a common fund with the intention of dividing the profits among themselves po.
Yes, very good, Shashi. So, based on the Civil Code of the Philippines, when we say partnership, it must have at least two or more persons bind themselves to contribute money, property, or industry to a common fund with the intention of dividing the profit among themselves. So, we have also discussed some of the characteristics of a partnership. Can you give at least one characteristics of a partnership? Kahit isa lang. Anyone who would like to answer?
Mutual contribution po.
Yes, thank you, Lester. We have mutual contribution. When we say mutual contribution, what does it mean? Anong ibig sabihin ng mutual contribution?
There cannot be a partnership without contribution of money, property, and industry to a common fund po.
Yes, very good. Again, Lester, when we say mutual contribution, there cannot be a partnership kung wala man lang sa partner magbibigay ng kanyang contribution. That is why we have to call it mutual contribution. May napag-agrihan na bawat isa sa ating mga partner kailangan may ibibigay sa atin dun sa partnership. One more characteristics.
Sir, yung limited life po.
Limited life, very good, Camille. What does it mean? Ano bang ibig sabihin ng limited life?
Yung partnership po, yung parang sa limited life na pwede po siyang ma-dissolve. Kunwari po namatay po yung isang partner, madi-dissolve na po yung partnership nila, ganun. Pero pwede rin naman po mag-add ng panibagong partner po.
Yes, very good, Camille. So when we say limited life, it is easy for a partnership to dissolve. Just nearby any changes in the partners, nadi-dissolve agad yung partnership. So ganun kabilis yung kanyang buhay. So one more, last one for the characteristic, Imaida. Hello, Imaida.
Sir, napindot ko lang po yun. Di ko alam kung para saan yun eh.
Okay, it's okay, Imaida. So anyone who would like to answer? One more, Reggie, you're raising your hand.
Division of profit and losses.
Yes, what does it mean? Ano ibig
So
sabihin,
the
Reggie?
essence of partnership must every partner must share the profit and losses of the venture.
Yes, very good, Reggie. So when we see division of profit or loss, it must be the ultimate purpose why we need to create a partnership rather. Kaya tayo nag-create ng partnership para kumita at paghati-hatiin natin yun. So we also done discussing the comparison between partnership and corporation. We have also done discuss last week the different classification of partnership depending on how are we going to classify it. Is it according to object? When we say object, ano yung mga classifications niya? We have a universal partnership of all present property. We have a universal partnership of profit. We have also a particular partnership. Now, what if this based on or according to liability, we have general partnership and limited partnership. Pag sinabi nating general partnership, all the partners have they are liable up to the extent of their personal property. When we say limited partnership, it must compose of at least one general partner and the rest are limited partners. But in this case, in a limited partnership, those limited partners are liable only to the extent of their contribution. Now, let us classify naman partnership according to their duration. It could be a partnership with a fixed term or a particular undertaking, and a partnership at will. So what about for the purpose? If it is according to purpose, we can classify partnership as to commercial partnership or professional partnership. And lastly, if it's according to their legality of existence, it could be a de jure partnership and de facto partnership. We have also discussed last week the different kinds of partners. We have general partner. Sila yung mga liable to the extent of their personal assets. We have limited partner. They are the partners na kung saan liable only to the extent of their capital contribution. But mind you that limited partner cannot contribute services or industry only. We have also capitalist partner. They are the partners who contributed money or property. We have industrial partner in which they contributed services for industry only. We have also managing partner. They are the partner that is assigned to manage the day-to-day operations of the partnership. We have also liquidating partner. They are the partners in which assigned by the partner to process and undergo the liquidation of the partnership. Yun yung magsasara na sila at ibebenta na nila yung mga property nila. We have also dormant partner. Ano yung ibig sabihin ng dormant partner? They are the one who are not active part of the partnership and at the same time, they are not known as a partner. We have also silent partner. When we say silent partner, they do not take part or they are not active in taking part of the business, but they are known to be partner. Kilala sila bilang partner. Tahimik nga lang sila kasi hindi sila active. We have also secret partner. When we say secret partner, sila naman yung active sa pag-manage ng business. They do active part, but they are not known to be partner. Kaya sila secret. And lastly, we have the nominal partner. They are the partners in which hindi naman talaga sila partner. They are not actual partner, but they represent themselves as a partner. Yun yung pinagkakalandakan nilang partner daw sa lapit when in fact hindi naman. So we have also discussed the articles of partnership. So let us now present your submitted articles of partnership as your assignment. So first we have the group 1 or the partnership number 1. So for their partnership, they created or they named their partnership as BENC accounting firm. How I'm going to pronounce it? Is it BENC or BENC?
BENC po.
Okay, BNC. So the first part of their articles, we have article number 1, partnership name. Does it comply with one of the essential elements of partnership? Yes, we have to state the name of our partnership, and the name of the partnership is BENC Accounting Firm. For article number 2, their business purpose. The purpose for which this partnership is formed is to provide accounting services which includes document filing, payroll, accounts receivable, accounts payable, taxes, and other related services. So basically, ang gagawin nila or bakit sila nag-create ng partnership is to provide accounting services. And it's article number 3, the principal place of business, which is also one of the essential elements of an article of partnership. So saan ba itong makikita yung office nila? It is located in 654 Marcelo del Pilar Street, Poblacion, Baliwag. Oh, sa Baliwag nila itatayo yung business nila. Okay. We have article number 5, the terms of existence, how long this partnership will last. 5 years lang. Ang iksi naman. So after 5 years, automatic magde-dissolve agad kayo. Isasara nyo na dapat yung partnership ninyo. Unless kung magsasabit kayo ng panibagong article sa SEC for its extension. Article number 4, the partner's circumstances, or these are the names, the nationalities, and their complete address. Oops, since yung complete address, mali yung naging spelling, ha? But it's okay. So the following partners, we have Esel, Naphtali, Irma, Berlin, and Camille, and they're all Filipino. Their complete addresses. Si Esel ay from Hinukay, Baliwag, while Naphtali is from San Rafael. Irma is from Tarcan, Baliwag. Berlin is from Angat, and Camille is from Tibag, Baliwag. Okay. So these are the following contribution. The total partnership capital is 1 million peso, and it's to be divided among the following partners. So equal contribution na mangyayari sa kanila. So nilivide na nila yung 1 million into 5, so they must contribute 200,000 pesos each. For article number 7, sharing ratio, magkano bang hatian nila? The profit and losses of the partnership shall be divided and distributed proportionately on the ratio of their capital contribution. So kung sinong mas malaki yung capital, mas malaki yung magiging share niya. Yun yung ibig sabihin ng sharing ratio nila. But since their capital ratio is equally distributed, so equal lang din yung kanilang distribution ng profit or loss. For the management, sinong managing partner? Oh, the managing partner is Camille Ann. You shall have the power to use the partnership name in otherwise performing such act as necessary and expedient in the management of the firm and to carry out its lawful purposes. So si Camille, kung sakaling papasok siya ng kontrata for being the general manager, di niya na kailangan pang humingi ng approval ng 4 pa niyang kapartner dahil siya naman ang in-appoint na general partner. And lastly, the Article 10, undertaking to change the name. Parang may kulang ata dun sa essential elements. Wala dito yung the rights and duties of each partner. Meron lang si Camille. So does it mean ba yung mga other partner are considered to be dormant part, or they are known pero hindi naman sila does not take part of the business?
Sir, kapag o numero, sir, 'di ba may ibibigay kang kuan, sir, kapag o numeros ng, 'di ba? Kapag principal lang lahat pera lang binibigay
So ang labas natin, the rest of the partner are
parts naman ng elements yan, sir, ang capital, 'di ba? Principal.
Yes, tama. But the role, let us identify the role. Kung si Camille ay general partner, lumalabas yung 4 na partner, lang sila? They are capitalist partner, of course. They contribute money. Yes, but
di na kami naglista ng numeros or magbigay ng something kasi tag 200,000 na po kami.
Okay, Erna. And then, sila ba ay considered as silent partner? Itong magiging 4 natin, si Berlin, si Irma, si Natalie, si Esel. Are they silent partner in which they are known to be partner? Nakastipulate naman sa ating articles at kaya kilala sila ng mga partners, but they do not take active part of the business. So, baka ganun yung nangyari. Kaya hindi na sila binigyan ng role and responsibility because they do not want to be active with the management of the partnership. So, ganun yung pwedeng maging konsepto ng partnership niyo.
Kami lang po binigay.
So, Camille, ikaw ang magtatrabaho at magpapagod pala sa partnership na to. So, let us now proceed with group number 2. Or partnership number 2. For this partnership, pinangalan nila ay VMACL Audit. So, these are the first letters of your name, kung hindi ako nagkakamali. So Article 1, it states their name as VMACL Audit. And their purpose is to review activities, to identify inefficiencies, reduce costs, otherwise achieve organizational objectives, investigate potential theft or fraud, and ensure compliance with applicable regulations and policies, ensure account accuracy of report. So in short, if I'm going to analyze your purpose, the reason why you create that partnership is to conduct internal audit services. Wala kayong external dyan sa objective or sa purpose niyo. So basically, yung gagawin nyo lang is to engage with your client and then provide internal audit services. And your principal place of address is in Chaong, Baliwag, Bulacan. Gaano katagal yung business ninyo? 10 years. Oh, that's a good term. Normally, partnerships are created within 10 years and then mag-extend na lang din. For article number 5, we have the names, nationalities, and their addresses. We have Laika from Pulilan. So Laika is from Pulilan, Micaela is from Angat, Jasani is from Bustos, Reggie is from Mangat, and Jamuel is from Makinabang. Oh, Jamuel, you are near on my office. Paglabas mo lang pala ng subdivision ninyo, halos makikita mo na yung office ko. We have also their article number 6, the capital contribution. In their case, the capital of the partnership is 1,250,000 and it is composed of the following contribution by the partners. For in this case, it is Laika Valiente who will give the highest amount of capital, which is 450,000. Mayaman si Laika, laki ng kanyang capital contribution. And Micaela mga has 200, same with Reggie, 200,000, Jasmine 175, and Samuel 225,000. Now, the right and duties of the partner, ano bang mga obligations nila as a partner? So every partner has the right to be consulted in all matters affecting the business of the partnership. So they are active. If they want to be consulted at any time affecting the business, they must have an active participation in the business. So every partner is entitled to share the profits proportionately. Every partner. So ayun na, meron agad silang agreement between their sharing of profit or loss. It should be proportionate with their capital contribution. Every partner has a right to take part in the conduct and management of the business. So yun na nga, they are active partners. So every partner has a right of free access to all records, books of account of the business to examine copy of them. So in short, lahat kayong mga partner kayo, pag gusto nyong i-check yung mga records nila, anytime pwede nyong tignan. It's a good duties and responsibilities of the partner. So let's have the article number 8, sharing ratio. That the profits and losses of the partner shall be divided and distributed proportionately on the capital contribution of each partner. So paano magiging hatian? So since we have 1,250,000, i-divide lang natin yung kanilang amount contributed. So for example, if we have Laika, so for 150,000, i-divide ko lang yan ng 1,250,000. 36% of the profit will go to Laika. While for Micaela and Reggie, 16% of the profit ang mapupunta sa kanila. And for Jessamine, well, 75,000 divide 1,250,000, 14% ang kay Jessamine. So ang pinakamaliit is si Jessamine dahil siya may pinakamaliit na capital contribution. For the management, sinong appointed as the managing partner? It is Laika. Siguro ang basis ninyo, bakit siya ginawang managing partner? Because Laika has the biggest amount of contribution. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Yata sa inyo ang nagbigay ng alang industrial partner. No? Mostly lahat may binigay na pera. No? So for management, it is Laika that we considered as a managing partner. Undertaking to change the name, given na yan. Article number 11, drawings and salaries. Nagbigay ba kayo ng sahod sa mga partners? So the drawing account of each partner is debited with withdrawals. This profit, so walang particular na statement kung kanino o sino sa mga partner ang may sahod at magkano yung sahod nila. But if for it to be allowed, based on your articles, ina-allow nyo na magkakaroon. So that's your article of partnership for group 2. For group number 3, we have EJ Accounting and Law Firm Company. Oops! Muntik na sanang maging general professional partnership. Yun nga lang, nagkaroon ng law firm. Remember that in a general professional partnership, they must practice a common profession. In this case, having a law firm and accounting in a single partnership, they cannot create a general professional partnership, but rather they can create a general partnership, but not GPP. So the name of the company is EJ Accounting and Law Firm. The business purpose is to exercise the profession of accounting and law, and at the same time provide services that are surely useful for the people. Our partnership is a non-trading partnership, and our purpose is to practice our profession. Although your purpose is again to practice your profession, but they are not common profession. Hindi kayo i-register ng SEC as well as ng BIR as GPP. Dahil magkaiba ng profession ang law at ng accountancy. Ang dating niyan, pagdating sa kanila, you will create only a regular or normal or general partnership. Which is, ano bang pinagkaiba ng general partnership sa kanang general professional partnership? A general partnership will be taxed as same as corporation. While for a general professional partnership, it is exempted from tax. So kung ako dyan, dapat dalawang partnership na lang yung create ninyo. Isang intended lang is for accounting dahil imagine yung kikitain ng partnership tax exempted. So mas beneficial yan. But for the purpose of this articles, it is valid. Yun nga lang, general partnership nga lang yung magagawa nito. So for the terms of existence, 6 years lang sila mag-e-exist. Wala atang naglagay ng part based on will of the partners. Pwede nyo ilagay dyan sa terms of existence that the partnership shall have a term depending on the decision or the will of the partners. So pag ganun yung cases, lifetime perpetual yan until na lang ipahinto lang ng mga partners. So for the partners, we have Erica, Jessie, Umayda, Ina, and April. So kaya nyo nakuha yung EJ because of the initials also, the first letter of their name. EJ. Okay, so they have their nationality and complete addresses also. Now for the contribution, the capital contribution is 580,000. Parang medyo maliit ata yung puhunan. Although hindi naman ganun kailangan ang kalaking puhunan sa isang law firm at accounting firm, but siguro ang kailangan nyo dyan, ano bang normal na requirement pag accounting sa law firm? Unang-una, in order for you to practice accounting, you must be accredited by the Board of Accountancy, so you will comply with the requirements. Yung pala, medyo magastos na. And renting a place, kung mag-renta sila, kaya naman, but of course, you have to purchase equipment, laptops, baka siguro medyo maliit tong 580. But that's okay. O, pwede naman nagawa ng partnership kahit 580,000 yung capital. Ano naman ang kanilang sharing ratio? It should be divided and distributed proportionately on the ratio of capital. Ang basis nila is based on their capital contribution. So in this case, magkano kaya ang magiging hatian ng kanilang kita? So for 100,000, divide lang natin ng 580. Si Erica, si Jassy, at Umayda, they will be distributed, they have a share in the net income of the partnership by 17%. While Ina, 90,000, divide natin ng 580, 16% sila, take 16%. So, ganun yung magiging hatian ng kita. For management, it is Erica Joyce who will be considered as a general manager. Okay, so wala din yung duties and responsibilities. So, I guess in this case, it is Erica Joyce who will manage entirely the business, while the other partners will be considered as silent partner. They are not active but is known as a partner. For group 4, we have Camiseta. Oh, so I guess the purpose for it is to sell or to create. Ano ba purpose sila? The purpose is setting goal of our business. It seems to directly aim our passion from start up to the finished product, also to help step to become successful in our business and to showcase a diverse range of products to our customer for different situations and seasons, but also in a physical way. So, medyo general yung kanilang purpose. So if I'm going to create in my purpose, assuming I'm one of the partner Camiseta de Apparel, the purpose is to create or to manufacture or magtatahi tayo ng mga apparels or clothes, and then we're going to sell it to the market. Article number 3, the place of business. Saan ba to? Oh, sa bagong na yun. Terms of existence for 15 years. Partner circumstances, we have the name, nationality, and addresses. Capital contribution, 200,000 pesos. So equal contribution lang sila. So 40,000 pesos sila to come up to 200,000 pesos. Kung buy and sell lang sila ng damit, malaki ng pupunan niya. Madami ng damit ang pwede nyo mabili at ibebenta nyo at a markup. So pwede na rin naman yung pupunan doon at 200,000 for this business. Sharing ratio, proportionate din with their capital contribution. So since equal ang contribution nila, equal din ang makakahitian nila. So 40 divide 200,000, tignan magkano sila. Take the 20%. Wow, complete with their signature and their notarize pa. Example pa yung ano nila, notarize pa kunwari. So that's good. So for group number 5 or partnership number 5, we have Sia Diahana Partnership. Sa ito bang si Camiseta? Sino nag-isip ng name ng partnership? Bakit Camiseta de Apparel?
Ako po, sir.
Bakit Dana?
Sir, meron din po, nagbi-business din po kasi ako ng mga damit. So,
So,
yes.
yun na yung parang gusto mo i-explore ngayon yung business mo into partnership na. Who knows, di ba? Calling the partners of Dana, Denise, John Ray, Princess, and Christine, baka gusto nyo mag-invest sa business ni Dana. Pahiwatig na yan. Baka meron kayong mga excess fund dyan.
Maliit pa lang.
Oh, di ba? Who knows? So, may mga ano dyan, may mga excess cash dyan. Oh, we can create a partnership, actual partnership with the business of Dana. For this articles of partnership, for partnership number 5, we have Sayadihana Partnership, which is based on their based on their name also. Sayadi.
Sir, restaurant po talaga yun. Napalitan lang po ng partnership.
I'm sorry, Cindy?
Sayadihana Restaurant po.
Sayadihana Restaurant. So the purpose is to provide or serve food to the general public. That's why our business is public eatery. Important goal is to be able to provide what people eat or drink at the time they need it. So it is as a fast food restaurant. So the place of the business is Tabang Claridel. Their business existence 15 years. Their circumstances or names, nationalities, and addresses. Complete also. We have also capital contribution, 2.5 million. Yes, that's good. That is a good capitalization required for a fast food. Lalo na kung ang gagawin niyo is a restaurant type, hindi yung mukhang karinderya lang. You need at least 2.5 million peso. So 500,000 for Jessa. So in this case, it is Archie that has the highest number and the highest amount of capital contribution. For sharing ratio, it's also based on the proportionately on the ratio of capital. So in this case, ang magiging hatian nyo ng kita, 600,000 pesos divide 2.5, Archie will receive 24% of the net profit. While for Jessa and Cindy, 20%. And for Hillary and JR, 450 divide 2.5 million, 18%. So I guess si Archie will be receiving the highest number or the highest amount of profit based on capital contribution. And this is unique because in the management, it is Jessa Vera Hibaya that will be considered as a general manager. Although he is the manager, she is the managing partner, it is Archie who will receive the highest amount of profit sharing. Bakit? Why is it in this case? Anyone from the group? Si Archie makakakuha ng 24%. Habang si Jessa, ang makukuha niya is 20%. But in this case, it is Jessa who is considered to be a managing partner. Pwede naman yan provided that Jessa will receive a salary or she will receive a monthly salary kasi hindi naka-stipulate sa ating articles of incorporation, articles of partnership rather. So you have group number or partnership number 6, si Vilsa partnership. Ano naman kayang purpose nito? To deal with the buying, selling, management, operations, and investment of land and buildings. Wow! So real estate business to. Tama ba? Sino ba mga partners natin dito?
Yes po, sir.
Si Joyce, si Mary Joy, and si Rona. So this is a real property business. Parang Camellia in short. Kaso ang i-trade nyo dito is lupa at building instead of residential houses. Ano yung condominium? So if you are going to invest more in land and building. So the address is, the main office is in Baliwag. Terms of existence is 20 years. Okay din, maganda yung 20 years. For circumstances, we have their names, nationality, and addresses. For capital ng parang aliit naman ata. If we're going to buy and sell land and building, baka hindi kakayanan yung 3 million peso. Magkano ba lupa ngayon at building? Mahal ang lupa eh. Mahal na rin. Alam na kung i-construct niyo pa ng building, kung ang gagawin niyo lang is to buy and sell a property, 3 million peso, baka isang lupa lang ang mabili niyo dyan, ng malaking lupa. Saka tapos patatayuan niyo pa. Medyo kulang yata yung capital. But this is okay also. Medyo maliit lang talaga based on the purpose of the business. So the sharing ratio is based also on their ratio of capital contribution. So in this case, equal lang kanilang capital contribution, equal lang din na magiging profit sharing. So 1/3. Tigwa 1/3 sila lagi. You have the managing partner. The managing partner is Mary Joy Sayo. Okay, complete with the details also. Ayun nga lang, wala. Rights of duties, I guess, silent partner lang din yung iba dito kaya hindi sila binigyan ng responsibility. In class, you may appoint someone as, for example, someone is the managing partner, someone will act as the treasurer, someone will act as the secretary of the partnership. Pwede nga yung mag-appoint ng duties and responsibilities for the other partners. So for the last group, we have Herakel Clothing. Bakit si Vilsa pala to? May I ask? Dahil dun sa last name niyo ng group?
Yes po, sir.
Si Vilsa. Okay. Nakuha ko na. Now for Herakel Clothing, ano bang purpose to? So to showcase our range of creativity of clothing designs in every trend and seasons while maintaining the good quality and affordable price that will satisfy the customer. So in short, they will going to manufacture, create their line of clothing and then ibebenta nila. The address is in the RT Pagala beside SM Baliwag. In terms of existence, 15 years. Here are our partners. We have Arthur, Lester, Zairine, Angeline, Angelo, and Angelo. Paano sila nakaisip ng Herakel? Nani, Herakel Clothing. What is the story behind that Herakel? Anong meron dun sa Herakel?
Hindi, wala lang sir. Parang nakita ko lang. Parang cool lang yung medyo sa clothes.
No, the capital contributions. The capital of the partnership shall be the amount of 2 million peso in Philippine currency with land. The contributed in cash by the partners are the following, or the contributions of each partners are the following. For Arthur, he will contribute 350,000 pesos. For Lester, he will contribute land plus 275. Do you attach the required inventory of that land? For example, the location, the exact measurement ng lupa, how many yung kanyang square meter. Kasi if not, what we have discussed last week, kung walang inventory of any immovable property, what will happen to this article? Anyone who remember it?
Void.
Yes, exactly. It will be considered as a void contract. Dahil for example, ang land niya, sinabi niya to, land plus 270. Kung sa Lester ay magko-contribute at may daladalang paso na may lupa, does he breach the contract? Di ba hindi? Kasi land lang yung nakalagay sa atin dito sa Articles of Partnership. This is why this will be considered as a void because unang-una, wala nang inventory at the same time, wala pang valuation ng lupa. Remember that in order for us to contribute a non-cash assets, if that is an immovable property, it must have an inventory. exact and an accurate description of that property, and at the same time, the basis for valuation. So later on, we're going to discuss the different bases of valuation. For the sharing ratio, it should be based on capital contribution. So for example, let us say that the agreed partners among Arthur, Lester, Zaidin, Angelo, and Angelo Nahangalo, they agreed that the value of the land to be contributed by Lester is amounting to 1 million peso. So in this case, the total partnership capital is 1 million peso plus 2 million. So the total capital of the partnership is 3 million peso consisting of a land and cash. So in this case, assuming 1 million is yung value ng land plus 275,000 peso, the total capital of Lester is 1,275,000. Divide natin ng 3 million. In that case, 42% or 42.5% ng profit sharing mapupunta kay Lester. So imagine, almost half of the income of the partnership kay Lester mapupunta. For management, it is Angelo that will be considered as a managing partner. Then the rest are their details. So again, wala din binigay na role and responsibility for other partners. So let us say that they are considered to be as a silent partner. So very good class. Thank you for submitting your assignment on time as well as having the creative minds of creating a name for your partnership. So a job well done class for these articles of partnership. Let us now proceed or let us now continue with our discussion in the accounting for partnership. Class, is my presentation clear on your screen and my voice is clear also on your devices?
Yes, sir.
Yes
Yes po.
po.
Yes.
Okay, class, let me know if I will if I have having a static voice or if the screen is not working so that I can stop mamaya dire-diretso pa ako tapos malabo na pala on your end. On my class kaninang umaga, nagka-problema ako with my internet. So, anong nangyari? Hindi siya nagpe-present sa screen or bigla ako nadi-disconnect. So, if that will happen on this section, my apology because nagkaka-problema yung internet natin for today. So, let us now proceed with the proper accounting. How are we going to account when we need to create or form a partnership? But before that, let us now have the basic concepts in accounting for partnership. So accounting for partnership is basically the same as sole proprietorship. Except that there are separate capital and drawing accounts for each partner. Kaya nga tinanong ko sa inyo last week, paano ba mag-accounting ng sole proprietor? Di ba in a sole proprietor, in its statement of financial position, there is only one capital account that in the equity section. Yung binibigyan natin yung last name ng proprietor, example, Juan Capital. So yun na yun nakalagay sa ating statement of financial position. And transactions that affect in the account of a sole proprietor is limited only to capital contribution, additional or withdrawal ng investment, or share yung kanyang kinita or net income or loss throughout the year, throughout the operation. So that is basically the same in the accounting for partnership. Except that, hanggang dumadami yung ating mga partners, dumadami yung pangalan doon sa ating capital accounts. Dumadami yung mga surname na ginagamit natin. So for partners equity account, we have the partners capital account and partners drawing account. Naku, nag-off kayo lahat ng camera. Sige. Okay lang yan. Kung ayaw niyo talagang i-share yung kagandahan ng yung mga muka at ng iyong mga kagwapuan kagandahan. Sige. So, for partners capital account, ano-ano ba yung mga transactions that will affect the partners capital account? First is its original investment or its original contribution, of course. Once we have a contribution, we will debit that asset or kung ano mang kinontribute niya, and that we will credit the capital account. Same with also additional investment. Ano pa magpapa-increase or magpapadagdag ng partner's capital account? If there are drawings account that is credit balance, we will increase that or we will close that drawing account in our partner's capital account. Now, ano naman yung mga transactions that will debit or decrease our partner's capital account? It could be a permanent withdrawal or ending balances of drawing account if that is a debit balance. So, that is basically the same in the accounting for sole proprietor. Yung capital account na maapektuhan lang din when there are additional investment, permanent withdrawal, and the balance of our drawing account. Now, what about drawing account? Paano naman natin ginagamit to in a partnership context? So, in a partnership, we do partners drawing account. We use it to account for any temporary withdrawal. Sir, anong pinagkaiba ng permanent withdrawal and temporary withdrawal? When we say permanent withdrawal class, they are made with the intention of permanently decreasing the partner's capital. In short, they withdraw and wala na silang balak ibalik pa to or sila ay gusto nang mag-retire at umalis sa partnership. So that is why they do permanent withdrawal. While comparing it with the temporary withdrawals, we say temporary withdrawals.
Sir.
Yes, Berlin.
Ulit po, nag-choppy sa akin eh.
Okay. So, again, when we say permanent withdrawals, these are made by the partners if they want to withdraw their investment or gusto na nilang mag-retire at ayaw na nilang mag-pursue ng business. So, in short, ayaw ko na maging partner kayo. Akin na yung investment ko. I-withdraw ko na to. So, that is permanent withdrawal. Or sabi niya na, parang ang laki-laki na ng invest sa business na to. Nag-invest na ako ng 1 million. Akin na yung 500,000, 500 na lang iiwan ko dyan. So, that is an example of a permanent withdrawal. Now, what about temporary withdrawal? A temporary withdrawal means these are made by the partner so who needs money at kailangan nila because they anticipate the share in their profit. So they will do irregular advances dahil alam nila na bandang huli naman may makukuha naman ako dun sa share ng profit ko. So kasi hintayin ko pa na magpamahagi kayo ng hatian natin ng kita, baka pwedeng makuha ko na ngayon. So that's what we call a temporary withdrawal. So it will not affect basically your capital, but rather ina-advance mo lang yung share mo sa profit. Now, notice that profit or loss is credited or debited either in the drawing account or in the capital account. So kung ang gusto ng mga partners based on their agreement is yung share ng profit or loss is to be accounted in the drawing account, doon mo dapat i-reflect yung share ng profit or loss. But also, it may be directly accounted for in the capital account of the partners depending on their agreement. So, at the end of the day naman, class, kahit ba sabihin natin sa drawing account natin ilalagay yung profit or loss, ang drawing account din natin ay i-close din natin yan sa capital account. So, if we need to close, bakit sir kailangan pang ilagay yung drawing account kung bandang huli rin naman pala is i-reflect din naman natin pala yun sa partner's capital account. Mind you, class, that there are agreement by the partners that they allow monthly withdrawals. Okay? So, kung i-allow ng partners ang monthly withdrawals dun sa kanilang mga partners, how can they monitor it if they actually reflecting in their capital accounts? Mahihirapan silang mag-monitor. Mamaya, excess na pala yung wini-withdraw ng mga partners based on allowable lang ng agreement nila. So, hindi nila malalaman yun because we will account it directly on the capital. So, that is the reason why most of the partnership agreed na instead of accounting that directly in the capital account, gawa tayo ng separate account so that we can monitor every withdrawal made by the partner. Yan nga yung dahilan bakit nagkakaroon ng conflict among the partners dahil lalo na pagpalabas ng pera. Baka excess na yung ginagawa ng partners, hindi pa nalalaman ng iba. So you have to be crucial and they use drawing account to maintain it or to monitor it. So for example, so when a partner, for example, we have Pedro, contributes cash to the partnership, what will be our journal entry? We will debit cash and then we will credit Pedro capital. Basically the same accounting for sole proprietorship. Now, when a partner, in this case, we have Juan, who will contribute a non-cash item such as land to the partnership, what will be our journal entry? We will debit land, and then we will credit Huwan capital. Now, when a partner, in this case Pedro, permanently withdraw his investment in a form of cash, nag-withdraw na siya at ayaw na daw niya maging partner sila, si Juan. So, ang ano magiging entry natin? We will debit Pedro capital, and then we will credit cash. Now, when a partner, for in this case, we have Juan. Si Juan temporarily withdraw a cash to get the anticipated share in the profit of the partnership. What will be our journal entry? We will debit Juan drawings and then credit cash. So aside from those accounts, those partners' equity account, there are also other accounts in the partnership that can affect their equity interest in the business. So ano yung mga other accounts na yun na makaka-apekto ng equity interest nila? We have the loans receivable from partners and loans payable to partners. So what does it mean? Ang loans receivable from partner, this is the account that we're going to use when a partner withdraws from the partnership with the intention of repaying it. In short, si partner nangutang kay partnership. So in that case, that the partnership must account or recognize a receivable. And that receivable, that the account that we're going to use is loans receivable from partner. So paano pinapresent to sa statement ng financial position ng partnership? It should be separately presented as a part of the asset of the partnership. Hindi po yan kukuhanin sa capital account ng partners, but rather, we will have it as a receivable as part of the asset of the partnership. Now, what about loans payable to partners? When we say loans payable to partners, it is the other way around. It is now the partnership that will ask for money for the partner. In short, si mga partner magpapautang ngayon sa partnership. So, paano ba mangyari yun na ang partnership ay mangungutang sa mismong partner? Yes. What if the capital contribution of a partner is 1 million peso, but the actual contribution made is 1.5 million? So there is an excess of 500,000. So it can be accounted for as instead of additional investment, ipahiram na lang ni partner sa partnership. So in that case, there is a loans payable to partner. And how are we going to account for it? It is going to be accounted for and presented separately as a liability in the financial position of the partnership. May utang ngayon si partnership sa mga partners. Sir, bakit kailangan pa nating i-separate presentation to? Pwede naman sa capital account na lang to i-reflect or i-account. Mind you, class, that when you are going to discuss partnership liquidation, there are different set orders of priority in which kailangan sinuun mo ng unang bayaran. So kung sakali man si mga partners ay may receivable or payable sa partnership, it must be settled first before ibalik yung kanilang capital interest. This is why we need to account it separately. But we are going to discuss it in detail once we reach partnership liquidation. So let us have an example. Pedro withdrew money from PJ Partnership Company with the intention of repaying it after 30 days, amounting to 10,000 peso. In short, si Pedro nangutang kay partnership kaya kailangan daw niya ng 10,000 peso. So sa libro ng partnership, how are we going to provide a journal entry? So we will debit loans receivable from Pedro, 10,000 pesos, and credit cash, 10,000 pesos. So may receivable ngayon sa statement of financial position ni PJ Partnership Company amounting to 10,000 peso. Now for second illustration, let's say PJ Partnership Company is in need of additional cash to purchase new equipment. Now Juan, who already contributed the required investment, okay naman pala na siya, na-invest na niya, kailangan niya i-invest. Dapat hindi na siya mag-invest additional pa dahil the requirement has been complied or given. Now, since kailangan ng partnership ng additional fund, sabi niya, sige, magbibigay ako ng loan. So, Juan provides loan to the partnership amounting to 15,000 pesos. So, how are we going to account for it? Anong journal entry natin sa book ng partnership? We will debit cash, 15,000 peso, and credit loans payable to Juan, 15,000 pesos. So these are the accounts that are we going to study further in accounting for partnership. So any question as of the moment before we proceed? Class, are we following the discussion?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us now proceed with the valuation. So alam na natin yung mga journal entry na kailangan natin gawin. The next thing we need to know is ano bang basis ng ano bang basis ng amount ang re-record natin. Remember, class, that the different forms of investment or capital or contributions of a partner are the followings. Ano ba pwede nilang ibigay sa partnership? They can give cash, they can give non-cash assets, also they can contribute liability. And lastly, they can also contribute services or industry. So if their investment is in a form of cash, how are we going to value it or measure it? So if in the form of cash, when an individual or partner contributes cash into the partnership, the cash is measured at its face value. Kung ano na yung sinabing amount, yun na yun. As it is, hindi mo na kailangan i-adjust pa because the measurement of cash is at its face value. So example, we have Ara and Mark agreed to form a partnership. Ara invested cash of 100,000 peso and Mark invested 150,000 pesos. So what will be the journal entry for this investment or capital contribution? We will debit cash of 250,000 pesos. We will credit Ara capital of 100,000 pesos and credit Mark capital 150,000 pesos. Basically the same when we account for sole proprietorship. Now, what if the investment to be made is a non-cash asset? So if the capital contribution is in the form of a capital as or non-cash assets, the non-cash asset is measured using the following set, order of priority. Ito yung kailangan ninyong hanapin doon sa mga problems na mga encounter ninyo. The first basis that we need to use is the agreed value. So kung given sa problem, merong agreed value, may fair value, may appraised value pa, at merong book value, ano yung kailangan yung gamitin doon? You must use first the agreed value. If the agreed value is not given, hanapin mo ngayon yung fair market value or fair value. Yun naman ang gagamitin natin. Pag hindi pa rin given yung fair market value, the next thing that you need to use is the appraised value. Kung hindi pa rin given yung appraised value, the next thing that you need to use is its carrying amount or book value. So let us have an example. Let's say we have Pedro and Juan that agreed that Pedro's contribution should be land. So dapat ang ibibigay daw ni Pedro ay lupa, which should be valued at 1 million peso. It means that the agreed value of land is 1 million peso. At the time of contribution, the fair value of land is 1.2 million peso, while the appraised value is 1.4 million peso. Now, the carrying amount of land in the records or books of Pedro is 900,000 pesos. Now, based on the order of priority, anong basis natin to record the value of land? Since the first thing that we need to use is the agreed value, hanapin natin dun sa problem, ano ba yung agreed value? And the agreed value is 1 million peso. So our journal entry, we will debit land 1 million peso, and then we will credit Pedro capital 1 million pesos. But let us assume that the agreed value is not given. Assuming wala yung word na 1 million peso na yan. How are we going to measure that land? Since kung hindi given yung agreed value, the next valuation that we're going to use is the fair value.
Fair
So in
value.
that case, we are going to record that investment or capital contribution using 1.2 million. So debit land 1.2 million and credit Pedro Capital 1.2 million peso. But normally, class, the fair value of the asset is the agreed value. Normally, yun naman ang pinag-aagrihan ng mga partners. O sige, you contribute it and we're going to measure it at its fair value. That is the agreed value. But mind you that if the agreed value is different from the fair value, anong una natin gagamitin? It is the agreed value. Kung ano yung napagkasunduan. Now, what if the contribution is in form of liability? So a liability may be assumed also by the partnership if agreed by the partners. Paano nangyayari yun? Maaari yung isang partner ay may mga utang siya at i-request niya sa mga kapartner niya, baka naman pwedeng partnership na lang yung magbayad ng utang ko. In that case, it becomes the liability of the partnership. So what will happen to the capital account of the partner? It will be decreased by the liability assumed by the partnership. So assumption na, let us say, we have this kind of situation. Assumption of the partnership to a liability may happen if the property invested by a partner has an attached unpaid obligation. Ito yung isa sa mga reason bakit kailangan ang partnership ang magbayad ng utang ng isang partner. So, let's say a partner have a car. Yun yung gusto niya i-invest sa partnership. Sasakyan niya. Etong si partner, hindi naman kayang bayaran ng cash yung sasakyan niya. So, ang ginawa niya, bumili siya ng sasakyan through installment basis, hulugan. So, since etong sasakyan niya, i-invest niya sa partnership, si partnership na yung magmamay-ari ng sasakyan, hindi na siya. So, ang request niya, baka naman pwedeng si partnership na yung magbayad ng unpaid loan ko dun sa sasakyan since si partnership naman na magmamay-ari. So, yes, pwedeng mangyari yun. In that case, si partnership na magbabayad ng utang. So, if the problem is silent, liabilities of a partner is assumed by the partnership. Kung hindi man in-stipulate or sinabi sa problem kung in-assume ba o si partnership ang magbabayad ng utang, and again, the problem is silent, it is the partnership who will assume it. So, i-record natin yung liability dun sa book ng partnership. And it is to be measured using its face value. So, we have an illustration. On July 1, 2019, we have Burgos and Ruiz to agree and form a partnership. So, the partnership agreement is specified that Burgos is to invest cash amounting to 700,000 peso and Ruiz is to contribute land with a fair market value of 1.3 million with 300,000 pesos of mortgage to be assumed by the partnership. In short, hindi pa fully paid yung lupa. Meron pang 300,000 pesos na pagkakautang. And clearly specified by the problem that it will be assumed by the partnership. So how are we going to provide an accounting entry for that? We are going to debit cash of 700,000 pesos. Anong breakdown ng 700,000 peso? We have received it from Burgos of 700,000 peso. So we have land also. Since hindi naman binigay yung agreed value, we are going to assume that the agreed value is same as its fair market value. So the land is equivalent to 1.3 million peso. We have also to credit mortgage payable. So sa financial statement ngayon ng partnership, lalabas tong mortgage payable na 300,000 peso. And for Burgos Capital, magkano ang kanyang contribution? 700,000 peso. But for Ruiz Capital, the capital of Ruiz is equivalent now to 1 million peso only. That is because binigay niya yung liability sa partnership. So applying the accounting equation that we have, asset minus liability is equal to equity. So asset is 1.3 less liability of 300,000 pesos, then the capital to be accounted for Ruiz is equivalent to 1 million pesos only. Now, class, let's say that the contribution is in form of service or industry. So if the agreed contribution is a service or industry, no journal entry will be made. Wala po tayong gagawing journal entry. Why? It's because we cannot put value or we cannot measure the expertise or skill of a person. Matutumbasan mo ba yan ng halaga at yun na i-record mo sa financial statement ng partnership? No. That is why in this case, it is only a memorandum entry that will be made in the general journal. So example, we have Bruce, Peter, and Tony that formed a partnership. Bruce contributed for 150,000 pesos, while Peter contributed cash amounting to 250,000 pesos and equipment valued at 300,000 pesos. Now, Tony is an industrial partner. To contribute his special skills and talents to the partnership. Profit or loss is to be shared equally among the partners. So how are we going to record it? We need to record those contributions that can be measured to has a particular value. And we have cash and equipment. So for cash, we will debit cash amounting to 700,000 pesos. Saan nanggaling yung 70? We have from Bruce of 450 plus 250,000 pesos from Peter. And for the equipment, we will debit equipment 300,000 pesos and credit Bruce capital 450,000 pesos and credit Peter capital 550,000 pesos. Now, the entry to record the contribution of a partner, Tony, will be as follows. Memorandum entry lang tayo. Tony is admitted into the partnership as an industrial partner to share 1/3 in the partnership profit. So any question, class, about valuation of cash, non-cash assets, liabilities, service, or industry before we proceed with the concept of PAC and PCC? Hello?
Sir, kapag industrial lang, kapag skills lang ang contribution mo, hindi pala yung 50-50 yung hatian din, sir? 1/3 lang yung sa...
Irma, it depends on the agreement. Pwede mong taasan yung gusto mong ibigay doon sa industrial partner. Doon lang sa example natin, yun lang ang napag-agrihan. But there are no definite amount. It always based on the agreement of the partners. Kung gusto ng mga partner na mas bigyan siya ng mas mataas, yes, it can. So long that every partners agree.
Okay po. Kasi nakakakuha ko 1/3 lang po eh.
Example lang natin yun. Thank you, Irma. I appreciate your question. Plus, for those students that will ask a question, rest assured na na-appreciate natin yun. Mas nagugustuhan ko o mas natutuwa ako pag nagtatanong kayo ng question. So, if there are no questions, are we following the discussion?
Yes po.
Yes, sir.
Opo.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you for the responses. For those who did not respond, I am assuming nakakasunod kayo sa ating discussion also. Now, let us now discuss the concept of PAC and PCC. Ano bang ibig sabihin ng PAC and PCC? When we say PAC, it means Total Agreed Capital. And when I say PCC, it means Total Contributed Capital. Anong pinagkaiba nila? When we say Total Agreed Capital, it is basically the agreed capital of the partners. And that should be the amount that is presented or that will be reflected in the statement of financial position of the partnership for each partner's capital account. Now, what do we mean by total contributed capital? This is the actual contribution made by the partner. So, pwede pala yun, sir, yung agreed capital nila, hindi yun yung kanilang i-contribute na actual. Yes, that happens. So, if the problem does not specify any agreed capital ratio, normally kasi when we see total agreed capital, there are ratios among the partners. So, kung walang ratio na binigay sa total agreed capital is equal to total contributed capital. So, whatever they can contribute, that is their agreed capital na. Pag walang ratio na binigay. But, if the total agreed capital class and the total contributed capital is not equal, we must follow the following accounting treatment. The first treatment is we need to use the bonus method, but this will be discussed further in detail once we reach chapter 3. So we are going to provide an illustration only for second and third accounting treatment. Now, in case that the total agreed capital, or TAC, is less than TCC, we must provide an additional investment. But if the total agreed capital is greater than total contributed capital, there must be a withdrawal made. So for example, the total agreed capital of partner A is 1 million, but his contributed capital is 1.2. What will happen? Investment or withdrawal? Again, total agreed capital for partner A is 1.2 million. Tama ba? Ano ba sinabi ko kayo na amount? Sorry, 1.2 million. Ano? Sige, i-reverse natin.
1.2 po.
Okay, 1.2. While for total contributed capital is 1 million only. What will happen? Additional investment or withdrawal?
Withdrawal.
Withdrawal.
Withdrawal
Yes, withdrawal. Kailangan niyang mag-withdraw amounting to 200,000 pesos. Kasi ang goal natin is to ensure that total agreed capital is equivalent to its total contributed capital. So let us have further illustration. We have A and B have formed or just formed a partnership. A contributed cash amounting to 1.5 million or 1.6 million peso, while B contributed 900,000 pesos. The partners agreed to share profit and loss equally. So ang binigay lang sa problem natin is profit and loss ratio, which is 50-50. But for capital ratio or the agreed capital, walang binigay. There are no given agreed capital ratio or agreed capital amount. So since the first situation, the problem is silent as to any agreed capital ratio or interest. It means that in this case, the total agreed capital is equivalent to its total capital contribution for each partners. So for A capital, we have 1.6 million plus B capital of 900,000 peso. The total capital of the partnership now is 2.5 million peso. And how are we going to identify its capital ratio? We just need to divide 1.6 or their capital to the total capital of the partnership. So for A, we have 1.6 million divided by 2.5 million. The capital ratio of A is 64%. And for B capital, we have 900,000 pesos divided by 2.5 million. The capital ratio of B is 36%. Now, class, let's say that there is an agreement of capital interest or there is an agreed capital ratio. In this case, A is to have 60% capital interest in the partnership. Doon sa first situation natin, based on contribution, their actual contribution, is the interest of A equivalent to 60%? No. Partner A will receive 64% capital interest ratio. But if the requirement or the agreement between the partners is that A will only have 60% of the capital interest, then 2.5 million multiplied by 60%, magkano dapat ang required or agreed capital kay A? It should be 1.5 million only. but the actual contribution is 1.6, what will happen for partner A? He must withdraw or provide additional investment?
Additional investment.
Additional po.
Again, the total contribution of the partner is 2.5 million. And it states that 60% of which must be the capital interest of partner A. So 2.5 multiplied by 60%, the total agreed capital should be 1.5. So if TAC is 1.5, that is the amount that should be reflected in the statement of financial position of the partnership. Pero yung actual contribution niya is 1.6 million. Will there be a withdrawal or additional
Withdrawal
investment?
po. Withdrawal.
Withdrawal na po ba?
The correct answer is withdrawal. Partner A must withdraw 100,000 pesos of his contribution so that 60% or rather 60% of the total capital contributions will be based on their agreement. Now what about for B? Since 60% yung kay A, ibig sabihin lang 40% ang maiiwan kay B. So if the total capital contribution is 2.5 million, multiply it by 40%, how much should be the agreed capital for B? And that is 1 million. Yes, 1 million peso. But compare that in his capital contribution, magkano ang kanyang capital contribution? Only 900,000 pesos. So it means in order for B to get the agreed capital, anong kailangan niyang gawin?
Additional investment.
Another 100,000.
Invest additional cash amounting to 100,000 pesos. So you have to be crucial with that. You must ensure that the total capital contribution is equivalent to the total agreed capital. Let us now have a different case. In this case, we have again A and B that formed partnership. But this time, A contributed cash of 1.6 million while B contributed only 900,000 pesos. Sir, anong pinagkaiba nito sa problem kanina? If you're going to notice slash kanina, doon sa illustration natin, there are no word only in the problem. But in this case, B should only contribute 900,000 pesos. So how are we going to account for this? The total contribution, the total capital contribution remain the same, 2.5 million peso. But mind you, class, that since B should only contribute a fixed amount of 900,000 peso, it means B should not make any investment or make any withdrawal. Hindi na siya dapat pwedeng magdagdag at mag-withhold pa ng pera. So in that case, B's capital contribution is equivalent to 40%. Tama na yung 900,000 peso is 40%. So sino dapat mag-adjust? Sino dapat mag-invest at mag-withdraw? It is only A. Partner A ang kailangan magkaroon ng adjustment sa kanyang capital contribution. So how are we going to account for it? Since B's contribution is 900,000 and that is equivalent to the 40% total capital of the partnership. So 900,000 divided by 40%, you will get the total agreed capital. So we have 900,000 divided by 40%. The total agreed capital is equivalent to 2,250,000 pesos. So that is the total capital partnership. And since ang kailangang capital interest ni A is 60% of the total agreed capital, you need to multiply it by 60%. So 2,250,000 pesos multiplied by 60%, then we can now get the total agreed capital for partner A. Agreed capital para kay A is equivalent to 1,350,000 peso. But how much is his actual contribution or TCC? The TCC of A is 1,600,000 peso. So in that case, sobra-sobra yung kanyang capital contribution. So kailangan siyang mag-withdraw amounting to 250,000 peso. So let us double check. Tignan natin kung talagang 60-40 ang naging hatian. So 900,000 pesos plus 1,350,000 peso. That will be the total capital of the partnership, which is 2,250,000 peso. So 2,250,000 peso multiplied by 40%. How much? That is 900,000 peso. That is the actual contribution of P. And 2,250,000 peso multiplied by 60%. That is 1,350,000 peso. That will become the actual contribution of A after A's withdrawal of 250,000 pesos. Are we following the discussion?
Yes, sir.
So class, you might be mindful. You must be careful with analyzing the problem. Remember that isang word lang yung pinagkaiba ng illustration natin kanina. You must analyze and understand whether are both partners able to withdraw or invest, or baka naman yung isa fixed na at di dapat mabago yung kanyang capital contribution. Because magkaiba yung accounting treatment natin sa kanila. Any question? Any concerns before we continue our discussion?
Wala naman.
Wala po, sir.
Okay. Now, we are now aware how to measure and evaluate those contributions as well as the accounting for capital interest or capital ratio of the partners. Let us now proceed with the formation of a partnership. Paano tayo magke-create ng partnership? There are three ways in which we can create a partnership. It could be by an individuals with no existing business, or it could be a conversion of a sole proprietorship into partnership. Or we can admit or retire a person in an existing partnership. So isa-isahin natin sila. Doon muna tayo sa individuals with no existing business. Ito yung dalawang tao na wala naman talagang negosyo, magsisimula pa lang. At nag-usap sila ng mag-create ng partnership. So in this case, class, it is basically the same as accounting for sole proprietorship. So the opening entry to recognize the contribution of each partner into the partnership is simply to debit the asset contributed. I-debit lang natin ano ba yung kinontribute nila dun sa partnership, and then we will go into credit any liabilities assumed by the partnership and credit capital account of each partner. So for example, we have on July 1, 2019, Burgos and Ruiz agreed to form a partnership in which Burgos will need to invest cash of 700,000 peso and Ruiz is to contribute land with fair market value of 1.3 million with 300,000 pesos of mortgage to be assumed by the partnership. So what will be our journal entry? We will debit cash 700,000 peso, debit land of 1.3 million peso, credit mortgage payable of 300,000 peso, credit Burgos capital of 700,000 peso, and credit Ruiz capital of 1 million pesos rather, 1.1 million pesos. So after the formation, the statement of financial position of the partnership is as follows. So immediately after they form the partnership, pwede na tayong gumawa ng kanilang statement of financial position. So we have Burgos and Ruiz partnership statement of financial position as of July 1, 2019. So the total asset of the partnership now is equivalent to 700,000 peso plus land of 1.3 million peso for a total asset of 2 million peso. How much is the total liability of the partnership? we have 300,000 peso for mortgage payable. And then the capital of the partners, Burgos capital of 700,000 peso, and Ruiz capital of 1 million peso for a total liability and the owner's equity of 2 million peso. So this is basically the same as accounting for sole proprietorship. Now, let us now proceed with the conversion of a sole proprietorship into partnership. You have to ensure in this situation, when we convert a sole proprietorship to a partnership, the following step or the following processes. So there are 3 processes that we need to do in converting a sole proprietorship to partnership. The first process that we need to do is to adjust the account of the partner with existing business based on the agreement of the partners. Again, the first process that we need to do is to adjust the account of the partner with an existing business based on the agreement of the partners. After we adjust it, the second process, we need to close all the accounts of the partner with existing business. Again, we need to close the account of the partner with existing business. Now, my question, class, dumating ba kayo sa closing entry in your basic accounting? Alam niyo
Yes
ba
po.
kung paano
Yes po.
mag-closing entry? Okay, good. So we are now done with adjusting. We are now done with closing. The next or the last step in converting sole proprietorship to partnership is that we will now record the investment in the partnership book. So for us to better understand those processes, let us have the accounting or the conversion if one of the partner has a business and the other one has no business at all. So a sole proprietor and another individual form a partnership. So a sole proprietor may consider forming a partnership with an individual who has no existing business. So under this type of formation, the assets and liabilities or the accounts of the proprietorship will be transferred to the newly formed partnership. Ililipat ngayon natin yung mga accounts or assets and liabilities ng partner na may business. So we have now your illustration. We have Tor and Hawk performed a partnership wherein Tor is to contribute cash, while Hawk is to transfer the assets and liabilities of his business. So sa mga partner na to, si Hawk yung may existing business, while si Tor, pera lang yung i-contribute niya. Again, the first step is to adjust the assets and liabilities of Hawk. So saan natin makikita yung assets and liabilities ni Hawk? Anong kailangan nating hanaping document? Class. Ano yung mga document na magpapakita ng assets and liabilities ni Hawk? Ano yung kailangan nating hanapin? Anyone who would like to answer?
Paulit po, sir.
Again, anong document ang kailangan nating hanapin para makita yung assets and liabilities ng business ni Hawk?
Income statement.
Income statement po.
Yung income statement po.
Bakit income statement? Asset and liabilities.
Financial. Financial position po.
Exactly. Hihingin ngayon natin yung financial position ni Hawk. Or kung hindi man available ang kanyang financial position, anong kailangan natin hingin? At least the trial balance of Hawk. Dahil dun sa trial balance, nakapresent din dun yung kanyang assets and liabilities. But much better kung ang hihingin nating document sa kanya, it should be his financial position, the statement of financial position of Hap. So assuming binigay na ni Hap, nakuha natin yung kanyang post-closing trial balance, wala pa daw siyang FS. Kaya ang binigay lang niya sa atin is trial balance. So these are the accounts of Hap sa business niya. At ayan yung ililipat niya sa partnership. So we have cash of 250,000 peso, accounts receivable of 300,000 peso, we have inventory of 120,000 peso, equipment of 760,000 peso, an accumulated depreciation of 60,000 peso, accounts payable of 280,000 peso, loans payable of 250,000 peso, and Hap capital of 840,000 peso. So we are now able to get the balances of assets and liabilities of Hap. Next is we need to adjust it based on the agreement of the partner. So you must get, ano ba yung mga napag-agrihan ni Hap sa kanitor? So the partners agreed on the following condition. The first agreement is that the allowance for uncollectible account of should be 28,000 pesos. So we must establish an allowance for uncollectible accounts amounting to 28,000 pesos. So recap tayo, anong ibig sabihin ng allowance for uncollectible account?
Bad debt.
Yes, Kashi, very good. So it means these are the bad debts. Ito yung mga potential na hindi makokolekta or hindi mababayang receivable ni Hap. So ang sinabi nila, na pag-agrihan nila, it should be 28,000 pesos. Now look on the trial balance of Hap. Meron ba siyang allowance? In the trial balance of Hap, meron ba siyang allowance for uncollectible accounts?
None, sir.
Wala. So we will establish. Mag-e-entry ngayon tayo to create that allowance in the book of Hap or in the financial statement of Hap. So for the first adjustment, we will debit Hap capital of 28,000 peso and credit allowance for uncollectible accounts, 28,000 peso. Now, mind you, class, that every adjustment in the financial statement of Hap, saan magre-reflect? Sa kanyang capital account. So in order for us to create or to credit an allowance for uncollectible accounts amounted to 28,000 peso, anong ide-debit natin dito? It is Hap capital. Again, all adjustment should be made in Hap account. Next, number 2. The inventories are to be valued at 95,000 peso. Ito yung second agreement nila. How much is the inventory of Hap on his trial balance? It is 120,000 pesos. Magkano na pag-agrihan nila or how much is the agreed value of the inventory?
95,000.
95,000
So anong gagawin natin? Babawasan natin o dadagdagan ng inventory?
Babawasan.
Magkano natin kailangan itong bawasan? So we have 120 minus
25,000 po.
25,000 pesos. So we will have an entry. Since babawasan natin ng inventory, i-credit natin to. So we will credit inventory, 25,000 pesos. So natin to i-adjust again sa Hap capital or sa capital account. So we will debit Hap capital of 25,000 peso. Then we will credit inventory, 25,000 peso. Next agreement. Ano na pag-agrihan pa nila? Prepaid expenses of 10,000 pesos and accrued expenses of 7,000 pesos are to be recognized. Tingnan ulit natin yung trial balance. Are there any prepaid or accrued expenses? Wala. So mag-e-establish ngayon tayo. Then we will need to debit prepaid expenses of 10,000 peso, credit accrued expenses of 7,000 peso. So what is the difference para mag-balance yung total debit and credit natin? So that is 3,000 peso. So we will credit Hap capital 3,000 peso. Nakuha na natin yung mga adjustment. Nakapag-provide na tayo ng adjusting entries. The next step that we need to do is to compute the adjusted trial balance. So let us now adjust the accounts of Hap based on their agreement. So we have the balances before adjustment. then incorporate lang natin or i-take effect natin yung ating mga adjusting entries, then we have now your adjusted balances. For cash, we have 250,000 peso. For accounts receivable, we have 300,000 peso. For the inventory, 95,000 na lang siya because that is the agreed value. We have equipment, 760,000 peso. Accumulated depreciation of 60,000 peso. We have accounts payable of 280,000 peso and loans payable of 250,000 peso. Since we have a total adjustment in HAW capital of 50,000 peso, the adjusted balance of HAW capital is equivalent now to 790,000 pesos. Now, for the accounts na hindi naman kasama doon sa kanyang trial balance, then we have to incorporate it. Now, we have allowance for uncollectible account, 28,000 peso, that's credit balance. Prepaid expense of 10,000 peso, and accrued expenses of 7,000 peso. You must ensure that the total debits and credit are equal. We have now arrived at the adjusted balance. What is the next step? We have now already the adjusted balance based on their agreement. Ano yung next step natin?
Record the investment in the partnership book po.
Hindi
Ay,
pa.
closing the accounts po pala.
We must close
Closing
it.
the accounts.
Isasara na ngayon natin yung business ni HAP. Kasi nga magkikreate na sila ng partnership. So, kailangan natin isara yung business niya. And in order to close it, we need to close those accounts. So, paano mag-close ng account? Anyone who would like to share? How are we going to close it? Paano? Let us refresh and recap your basic accounting. How are we going to close the accounts of HAP in his business?
Posting entry, sir?
Yes.
Close to income summary.
Paano natin isasara to?
Iko-close po sa income summary, sir.
No, wala na tayong income and expense dito, SL. Remember, they are
Okay.
assets and liabilities na i-close na natin. That is the process for closing nominal accounts. But how about, in this case, we are closing real accounts.
Posting trial balance. Tama ba yun?
The process for us to close the real accounts of HAP is to
Statement
debit.
of financial.
Again, ide-debit natin lahat ng credit balances. At lahat ng debit balances, i-credit natin. In that case, zero ang mangyayari. Magsasara na yung business ni HAP. Magiging zero na lahat yung kanyang mga accounts. Nakuha? Again, in order for us to close the account of HAP, all credit balances, ide-debit ngayon natin. At all debit balances, i-credit ngayon natin. So what will be our closing entry? Ano yung mga credit balances? We have the capital itself, the HAP capital of 790,000 peso. I-debit mo ngayon yan para ma-zero out na at ma-close. We have accounts payable of 280,000 peso. Debit loans payable of 250,000 peso. Then debit accrued expenses of 7,000 peso. Then debit allowance for uncollectible account of 28,000 peso. And then debit accumulated depreciation, 60,000 peso. So dinebit natin lahat ng may credit balances. And in order for us to close those balances with debit balance, i-credit naman ngayon natin sila. So ano ba yung mga debit balances natin? We have cash. So para ma-zero out to or ma-close, i-credit natin ngayon. So credit cash, 250,000 peso. Credit accounts receivable of 300,000 peso. Credit inventories of 95,000 peso. Credit prepaid expenses of 10,000 peso. Then credit equipment of 760,000 pesos. Are we following the discussion?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
What will be the next step? We already done closing the books of HAP.
Record the
Record po. Record the
Saan natin
investment in
i-record?
partnership book. Partnership
Ipapasok.
book po.
Yes, very good, Camille. Ipapasok na natin to sa libro ng partnership. Ililipat niya na yung mga assets and liabilities na yan. But mind you, class, I will state two rules first. In transferring non-depreciable asset Again, in transferring non-cash assets such as property, plant, equipment, or depreciable assets. Ano ba yung mga depreciable assets? We have equipment, we have property that are subject to depreciation. Those items that are depreciable, pag nilipat natin yan sa book ng partnership, we record it at net of accumulated depreciation. Again, please write it down. The rule of recording or transferring a sole proprietorship to a partnership. If the item or the property to be going to transfer is a depreciable asset, we will record that in the book of the partnership net of its accumulated depreciation. This is the number one rule. Second rule, if the item that we're going... I'm sorry, Jashi?
Okay na po, mabilis po.
Okay, good. So, if the item that we're going to transfer to the partnership is accounts receivable, we will not deduct the allowance for doubtful account or uncollectible account. Hindi po natin ibabawas. Both the accounts receivable and then the allowances will be transferred. Nakuha? Anyone who would like to repeat what I said? Kung nakuha ninyo, class.
Ulit, sir.
Okay, go Camille.
Sir, if we record po if the item is depreciable asset, we will record it as net of accumulated depreciation. Tapos yung second rule naman po, if the item is account receivable, we will not deduct the bad debt expense or the doubtful account.
Yes. So let us have now, in this case, present yung dalawa. Meron tayong equipment ay meron tayong accounts receivable. Tingnan yung mangyayari pag tinransfer natin to sa books ng partnership. So first is we need to record the investment of HAP. So yung mga klinos lang natin kanina, ililipat lang natin doon sa book ng partnership. So we will debit now cash 250,000 peso. We will debit accounts receivable of 300,000 peso. We will debit inventory of 95,000 peso, prepaid expense of 10,000 peso, and we will debit equipment 700,000 peso. Kung i-compare natin kanina dito sa klinos natin, how much is the cost of the equipment? Diba 760? But there is an accumulated depreciation of 60,000 peso. Nung nilipat natin yung equipment sa partnership, it is net of accumulated. It is now equivalent to 700,000 pesos only. Wala tayong ililipat na accumulated depreciation. Dahil nakabawas na yun sa equipment natin. Nakuha at naintindihan ba ng klase?
Yes,
Again?
Opo.
Okay. Now, what about the accounts receivable? Binawas ba natin yung allowance for uncollectible account? No. Hindi natin binawas. Nilipat din natin pati yung allowance for uncollectible account. Or if you're going to notice, there is a credit for allowance of uncollectible account, 28,000 pesos. So in that case, after affecting all the assets and liabilities, in the partnership book, HAP capital is equivalent to 790,000 pesos. Now, we have now to record the investment of TOR. Ano ba yung napag-agrihan nila? TOR is to contribute sufficient cash to have an equal interest in the partnership. Kailangan daw kung magkano yung capital ni HAP, yun din daw ang capital ni TOR. So magkano kailangan niyang i-contribute? How much? Magkano, class?
790,000.
Very good, Angelo. The same amount of capital of HAP. So he must contribute 790,000 peso debit and credit TOR capital 790,000 peso. So at the date of formation, we can now create the statement of financial position of the partnership. So after formation, the partnership now has a total cash of 1,040,000 peso. Saan nanggaling yung 1,040,000 peso? This is the contribution of TOR of 790 plus the cash given by HAP of 250. 790 plus 250, i-add nyo nga. Is that 1,040,000 pesos?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and then the rest. Accounts receivable, ito nanggaling naman yan entirely from the book of HAP. So, less account allowance or uncollectible account of 28,000 peso. You have inventory, prepaid expense, and equipment, as well as the liabilities and equity. And then as you can notice, the capital of HAC and TOR are the same because that is what their agreement. So that is how we are going to account for conversion of a sole proprietorship to partnership when one of the partner has a business and the other one has no business. Any question before you proceed with conversion if the two partners have both an existing business? Any question, guys, before you proceed? Yes.
Wala
Sir,
naman
Glenn
po.
po ba,
Go, Camille. Go, Camille.
sir, kunwari po pag may time po ba na wala naman po sila mag-agreement dun sa magiging investment?
Kailangan laging may agreement about contribution, Camille. Hindi pwedeng
Okay.
wala. Kasi
Thank
kung
you
walang
po.
agreement, baka wala na lang i-contribute yung isa sa mga partner. Paano natin mako-compel or paano natin mapipilit yung isang partner na mag-contribute kung wala tayong mapapag-agreehan? Did I answer your question, Camille?
Yes po.
Nasagot ko ba? Okay. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate your question, Camille. Thank you for asking. Aside from Camille, sino pang may question? Okay, if none, let us now proceed with accounting for conversion of a sole proprietorship into partnership, wherein two or more partners have their own businesses. So basically, class, this is the same process that we do on the first illustration that we have. Ang pinagkaiba lang niya dito, dalawang accounts yung i-adjust natin because there are two accounts from the books of the partners. So what will be the process? Again, the first process is we need to adjust the accounts of all the partners with business in accordance with their agreement. And adjustment are to be made on their individual business capital accounts. Second, we need to adjust. After adjustment, we need to close the books. And after we close the book, we will record now the investment in the books of the partnership. So let us now have your illustration. We have Mike and Mel decided to combine their businesses on December 31, 2019. So the statement of financial position for the two proprietors are presented below. Binigay na yung kanilang statement of financial position. So for us to determine ano ba yung mga assets and liabilities nila. Now, since we already have the list of their assets and liabilities, we need to adjust that based on their agreement. Ano ba ng mga napag-agreehan nila? So we have the first condition. Allowance for uncollectible accounts shall be 20,000 pesos and 60,000 pesos for Mike and Mel, respectively. Second condition, the inventories are to be valued at 110% of their recorded values both for Mike and Mel. Third condition, or third agreement, the furniture and fixtures are to be depreciated by 15,000 pesos. And for their last agreement, the equipment is to be depreciated by 70,000 pesos. So these are their agreed values now. Kailangan nating ma-adjust at ma-reflect yan sa kanilang mga books of account. So let us now adjust the accounts of the partner. So dun sa unang condition, the allowance for uncollectible account shall be 20,000 and 60,000 for Mike and Mel. So balik muna tayo. Magkano ba yun dun sa kanilang financial position? For Mike, how much is the allowance? It is only 14,000 pesos. And if the agreed value is 20,000 peso, how are we going to do? Magdadagdag ba tayo or magbabawas?
Dagdag po.
Yes, magdadagdag tayo. How much?
6,000.
6,000.
Yes. Anyone who would like to provide the adjusting entry?
Try po.
Go, Camille.
My capital po debit 6,000, then allowance for uncollectible accounts credit 6,000 po.
Very good. That's correct answer, Camille. Now, what about for Mel? Anyone who would like to provide the adjusting entry for Mel? The required balance of allowance for uncollectible account or the agreed value should be 60,000 peso. But based on the record of Mel or in the statement of financial position of Mel, it is only 48,000 pesos. So how are we going to provide an adjusting entry with it? What is the correct adjusting entry? Anyone who would like to answer?
Ako po, sir.
Go, Jashi.
Mel's capital po, 12,000. That's uncollectible accounts, 12,000 pa.
Very good. That's the correct answer. So I hope sinusulat niyo yung mga journal entry, ha? Second, the inventories are to be valued by 110% of the recorded values for both Mike and Mel. What will be our adjusting entries for this? Kung ang inventory ni Mike is 660,000 peso, it must be valued at 110%. So dadagdagan daw natin ng 10% yon. What about kay Mel? 2,520,000 pesos, multiply it by 10% yung dapat ang kanyang i-increase. So what will be our entry? Anyone who would like to take a guess or answer? For the book of Mike, for the records of Mike, we will debit what? That
Capital po. Wait lang po.
Okay, sige. Take your time, Camille. Do you want to answer?
Try lang po ulit.
Sure.
Yung ano po. Wait po. Bali, Mel capital po, 66,000. Tapos, inventory niya po, 66,000 credit po.
Kung yung inventory ang i-credit mo, what will happen to the inventory? Will it increase or decrease?
Mag-i-increase po.
Anong normal value or balance ng inventory? Camille, what is the normal balance of inventory?
660,000 po.
Is it debit or credit?
Credit.
What is the normal balance of inventory? Debit or credit?
Debit.
Debit. So kung i-credit mo yung inventory, madadagdagan or mababawasan?
Mababawasan.
Mababawasan po.
So in your entry, what will happen? You will decrease the amount of inventory by 10%. So it should be the other way around. So anong i-debit mo ngayon, Camille?
Bali, debit po ngayon yung... Wait po.
Okay lang. Take your time, Camille. It's okay.
Debit po yung inventory na 66,000 tapos credit po na yung capital po na 66,000.
Yes, very good. Thank you, Camille, for providing the correct answer. So in that case, we will debit inventory to 66,000 pesos and then we will credit Mike capital 66,000 pesos. Now, what about for the book of Mel? For the book of Mel, we need to increase or we need to measure the inventory at 110%. Anyone who would like to answer? Yes, Jessa.
Debit inventories 252,000. Credit capital 252,000.
Yes, very good. Thank you, Jessa. You will credit Mel capital and debit inventory amounting to 252,000 peso. So we have now an adjusting entry for agreement number 2. What about agreement number 3? The furniture and fixtures are to be depreciated by 15,000 peso. Na kanino yung furniture and fixture? Is it in the books of Mike or is it in the book of Mel?
Mel po.
Si Mel. So in this case, walang adjustment na gagawin sa book ni Mike. Kay Mel lang to applicable. So if you're going to notice the statement of financial position of Mel, the accumulated depreciation for furniture and fixture is limited only to 12,000 peso. But the required accumulated should be 15,000 peso. So kailangan nating dagdagan ng 3,000 pesos yung accumulated depreciation. So what will be our adjusting entry? Anyone who would like to guess the answer? Huwag kayong mahiya kahit go Jessa. Sige, go Jessa. Again, Jessa.
Wait lang, sir. Depreciation expense debit 3,000. Accumulated depreciation 3,000.
Again, pag nagkakaroon tayo ng adjustment, saan natin inire-reflect yung adjustment, Jessa? Diba? Directly in the capital. So, dapat wala na tayong re-record any income or expenses. Wala ng income and expenses, see itong mga books nila. Rather, any adjustment should be made in their capital account. So, let us revise the answer, Jessa. What will be our how are we going to what account we are going to debit?
Capitals.
Exactly. Thank you for providing the correct answer, Jessa. We will debit Mel Capital amounting to how much? Magkano?
3,000 po.
Yes, and then we will credit
accumulated depreciation.
Yes, accumulated depreciation, 3,000 pesos. So that is the correct adjusting entry for the agreement on number 3. We will debit Mel capital of 3,000 pesos and credit accumulated depreciation of 3,000 pesos. O last agreement, we have number 4. The equipment is to be depreciated by 70,000 pesos.
Sir, try po ulit.
Let us try si Rona. Si Rona muna. Rona, what is the correct answer?
Debit my capital 10,000. Credit accumulated depreciation 10,000.
Correct. Very good, Rona. So that will be the adjustment for the agreement on number 4. So basically, ito yung mga nakuha ninyong journal entry. So all your answer, thank you class for providing the correct adjustment for those agreement. So since we already have the adjustment, we need to reflect that or affect that in their financial position. So i-adjust na ngayon natin yung kanilang statement of financial position. So once we have the adjusted balances, what are we going to do now? Ano nang gagawin natin? I-close na natin yung mga accounts. So, we have to close now the accounts of the books of Mike. Hindi ko na pinakita yung computation ng pag-reflect ha. You already know the process. I-adjust nyo lang, i-effect nyo lang yung mga adjusting entries na yun dun sa ating mga accounts na present kanina. So, after we get the adjusted balance, we need to close it. So, in this case, for the books of Mike, ito na yung mga kanyang adjusted balance na dapat natin i-close. We will debit now my capital of 1,958,000 peso. Debit accounts payable of 262,000. Debit allowance or uncollectible account of 20,000 peso. Then debit accumulated depreciation of 70,000 peso. And credit cash of 240,000 peso. Credit account receivable of 144,000 peso. Credit inventory of 726,000 peso. And credit equipment 1.2 million peso. Now for the books of Mel, i-close din mo natin yung sa kanya. We will debit Mel capital of 3,657,000 peso. Debit accounts payable, then the rest of the accounts of Mel. So after we close it, how are we going to do now? What are we going to do now?
Record po.
Record.
Saan? Saan tayo magre-record?
Partnership book.
So, partnership.
Yes. Thank you, Angelo and Camille. We're going to record that as contribution to the partnership. So in the books of the partnership, we will now record the following contribution. For Mike, we will debit cash of 240,000 pesos, receivable of 144,000, inventory of 726, and equipment. Again, the equipment is recorded net of accumulated depreciation. That is 1.2 million less 70,000 pesos. So that's 1,130,000 pesos. For the allowances, we will credit that for 20,000 peso, credit accounts payable of 262,000 peso, and credit my capital 1,958,000 peso. For the investment of Mel, ipapasok na niya yung kanyang assets and liabilities. So we'll debit cash of 60,000 peso, Debit account receivable of 600,000 peso. Inventory of 2,772,000 peso. A furniture and fixtures of net of accumulated depreciation, we have 960 less 15, that is 945,000 peso. Allowance for uncollectible account of 60,000 peso. Credit accounts payable of 660,000 peso. And MEL capital of 3,657,000 pesos. Class, may binigay bang required capital ratio? Agreed capital ratio ang problem.
Wala, sir eh.
Wala. So if there are no capital, agreed capital ratio, anong discussion tayo kanina sa concept ng TCC at TAC? If the problem does not specify any agreed ratio or capital ratio, it means what?
Equal?
Yes, Ronaldine. The total agreed capital is equivalent to its total contributed capital. So kung ano man yung kanilang kinontribute, that will now be the balances that will be presented in the statement of financial position. Yun yung makikredit sa kanilang capital account na. Now, my question, what will be the capital ratio of Mike? Magkano capital ratio ni Mike after their investment? What is the capital ratio of Mike and what is the capital ratio of Mel? Yes. You just need to add the capital of both Mike and Mel and then i-divide mo lang yung kanilang mga capital balances on the total. That will be their capital ratio. Ilang percent yung kay Mike? Ilang percent yung kay Mel? You have 1.958. Divide mo lang dun sa total na lang ng capital nila. Magkano? O ilang percent? Yes, Jessa. Jessa Vera.
Kay Mike po, 35%.
Ilang percent yung kay Mel?
65% po.
Very good. Kay Mike is 35%, while for Mel, 65%. Nakuha? What if naman ngayon, class? Let's say that there is a capital ratio requirement. There must be an agreed capital. And the agreed capital states that my capital should be equivalent to 60%. While for Mel, that is equivalent to 40%. And Mel should not make any more or any additional investment or should not withdraw. Fix na yung capital ni Mel. Anong kailangan gawin ni Mike? Kailangan ba niyang mag-withdraw pa or kailangan niyang mag-invest ng additional contribution? Again, let's say there is a capital, agreed capital interest or ratio. Mike should have 60% of the capital and Mel should have 40% of the capital. If Mel should not make any additional investment or should not withdraw, how much should Mike invest or how much should Mike withdraw?
$1,411,000 po.
Is it a withdrawal, Angelo, or investment?
Investment po.
Parang maliit ata. Angelo. Again, let us repeat the problem or the situation. The agreed capital ratio now is 60% for Mike and 40% for Mel. In that case, Mel should not make, hindi na pwedeng mag-provide ng additional investment si Mel at hindi na rin siya dapat mag-withdraw. So fixed na yung kanyang contribution na 3,657,000 pesos. So that is now equivalent to 40%. Tama na yun. Hindi dapat pwedeng baguhin yun. So ang mag-a-adjust na lang ngayon si Mike. Will that be an investment or will that be a withdrawal?
Mag-invest, sir.
Magkano? How much? Magkano ang kailangan i-invest?
1,699,000, sir.
Medyo malayo pa yung sagot, Irma. It's okay. Try lang kayo. Try. Alan, Ina.
Yung question po. Sabi po.
Okay.
Sorry po.
Okay lang yun. So, let's say that there is an agreed capital ratio. That the agreed capital ratio is that Mike is 60% and Mel is 40%. So 60-40 yung kanilang capital ratio. And at the same time, Mel should not make any investment or Mel should not make any withdrawal. Hindi na daw dapat mababago yung capital ni Mel. So in short, si Mike na lang yung mag-a-adjust. Siya dapat ang mag-provide ng withdrawal o siya dapat ang mag-provide ng investment. The question now is how much? At ano yung gagawin niya?
Sir, try po. Wait.
Sir, try ko po.
Sir, try.
Si Arthur muna, si Arthur. Let's try your answer, Arthur.
9,142,500 po.
How much?
9 million.
Pa? Paano mo nakuha yung 9 million, Arthur?
Wait lang po, sir.
Sige. Let us try first the answer of Camille. Camille, what is your answer?
Sir, ano po? 3,527,000. Ay, 3,527,500.
Okay. So, Camille got the correct answer. Camille, how did you get it?
Sir, bali, ano po? Wait. yung 365,000, 3,657,000 po ni Mel, dinivide ko po siya sa 40%.
Yes,
Tapos
very good.
po,
Ano yung makukuha mong amount? That is the 9 million. That is the answer of Arthur. 9,152,500. And that reflects the total agreed contribution of the partner. Yun yung total partnership capital. So, yun yung hahatiin dapat ni Mike at ni Mel. Eh, since 40% nun ay mapupunta kay Mel, magkano dapat ang kay Mike? Camille, how much will be the required agreed capital for Mike? Multiply mo lang ng 60%, di ba? How much, Camille?
5,485,500.
So, kailangan daw, ang kanyang capital is 5,485,500. But magkano lang yung kanyang naging capital after the contribution ni May? We have 1,958,000. Kulang na kulang pa dun sa agreed capital nila. So in short, Mike should invest 3,527,500. Nakuha natin.
Paano ulit yun, sir?
Again,
Kay Mike.
we have 3,657,000. That is the capital of Mel. Divide it by 40%. you will get the total agreed capital of the partnership, which is 9,142,500. Multiply it by 60%. That will be the required agreed capital of Mike. Pero yung investment niya, magkano lang? 1,958,000 pesos. That is his capital. So he must provide an additional investment amounting to 3,527,500. Nakuha?
Opo, sir.
Now, second scenario tayo. What if both parties can withdraw or invest in order to comply with that agreed capital ratio? So same tayo, 60-40 pa din. 60% for Mike and 40% for Mel. Let's say both of them can provide additional investment or withdraw in order to comply with the agreed capital ratio. For Mike, what will happen? Anong mangyayari? How much will be the required agreed capital for Mike, and how much will be the agreed capital for Mel? Anyone who would like to guess or try to answer?
Sir, try lang po ulit.
Oh, Camille, how much will be the agreed capital for Mike?
783,200 po.
Huh? How much, Camille?
783,200 po.
Yung agreed capital ni Mike? Medyo mababa, medyo maliit.
Sir, 1,174,800.
Yung agreed capital ni Mike, medyo hindi pa sumakto, Irma. Again, if both Mike and Mel can make a withdrawal or both of the parties can make an adjustment in order to comply with their capital ratio, for the case of Mike, kailangan ba niya mag-invest or mag-withdraw? For the case of Mel, kailangan ba niya mag-invest or mag-withdraw, and how much? Kay Mike muna tayo. Sinong gustong sumagot? Okay. So in this case, if both of the parties can adjust in order for them to comply with the required agreed capital ratio, i-add natin magkano ang naging total capital ng partnership after their investment. You have 1,958,000 plus 3,657,000. How much? The total capital of the partnership.
5,615,000.
Yes, John Ray, very good. 5,615,000. Yan yung paghahatian ngayon nila. If 5,615,000 multiplied by 60%, how much will be the agreed capital for Mike?
3,369,000, sir.
40% ng 5,615,000. Kay Mel naman, how much is the total agreed capital for Mel?
2,246,000 po.
Yes. So, let us now compare that with their capital contribution. Nakuha na natin yung total agreed capital. Compare natin yung total capital contribution. For Mike, we have 1,958,000. Kulang pa kasi ang agreed capital niya is 3.3. Anong gagawin? Jessa, anong gagawin niya?
Invest po.
Nag-i-invest po siya.
How much, John Ray?
2,000. Oh.
John Ray, magkano? Magkano lang kanya in-invest? Okay, Jessa, how much?
1,411,000.
Exactly. That will be the amount that Mike should invest. And for the case of Mel, anong gagawin niya?
Withdraw. Withdrawal.
How much?
Hirap ng walang kalbo.
For Mel, she must withdraw same amount also, 1,411,000 pesos. Yes. So nakita niyo yung difference ng procedure ng dalawa. If both of the parties can adjust, ang basis natin ng total capital contribution or the total agreed contribution is their actual contribution. Tapos i-distribute lang natin based on their capital ratio. But if the problem states that only one of the partner can adjust or can provide an additional investment, yung other party, yung fixed na dapat ang contribution will be the basis para ma-compute natin yung total capital or agreed capital ng partnership. Nakuha natin yung difference ng process. Can you hear some responses from the class?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you have to be mindful with the problem. You must clearly and you must analyze it in detail. Okay? So in that case, assume in this case, sa problem natin dito, sa illustration natin dito, since silent naman siya up to wala namang capital ratio na binigay or agreed capital ratio, so it means TAC is equivalent to its TCC. So in that case, we can now create their statement of financial position. So we have now a total cash of 300,000 peso, a total receivable of 744,000 peso, and then the rest of the accounts. So you just need to combine that. I-add nyo lang yung magkakamukhang account. Now class, in the board exam, normally, ang ikatanong sa inyo dyan, upon formation of the partnership, how much is the total asset? Okay, normally tinatanong. After formation, magkano agad yung total asset ng partnership? So in this case, the answer is 6,587,000. So that is how are we going to account for conversion of sole proprietorship into partnership. Now let us now proceed with the admission or retirement of a partner in an existing partnership. So for admission or withdrawal of a partner into an existing partnership, we will study that, or we will going to discuss that in detail once we reach the chapter 3 of our textbook. So let us have some activities first. So true or false? Number 1, in a contract of partnership, 2 or more persons bind themselves to contribute money, property, or industry to a common fund with the intention of dividing the profit among themselves.
True.
You can answer also by typing in the chat box, or you can unmute your mic and say your answer. Oh, yes, very good class. Majority of you or all of you answer is true. The correct answer is true. Second statement. In a limited partnership, none of the partners has unlimited liability for business debt.
False.
Arthur, bakit false?
Meron po isa dapat na merong general partnership po tayo. Kaya may unlimited liability po yun.
Yes. In a limited partnership, there must be at least one general partner. So in that case, there must be at least one partner that will have an unlimited liability. So for number 2, the answer is false. Number 3, a silent partner takes active part in the business and is not known by outside to be a partner?
False po.
False.
False.
Bakit
False
false?
po.
Secret partner.
Secret partner.
Yes, very good class. The one that is referring to number 3 is secret partner. Sino ba yung silent partner?
Sir, sila po yung
Hindi
hindi
po
na
active.
active. Hindi
Hindi
pa
po
rin po
active.
sila kilala.
Yung hindi active
Pero
at
kilala
hindi
po.
kilala, dormant yun, Camille.
Sorry.
Yung mga silent, sila yung
Hindi active.
Ay, hindi active
Pero
pero
di po sila
kilala.
kilala.
Wait lang, isa-isa muna si Archie. Archie, sino yung
Kilala.
silent partner?
Yan po yung mga hindi po active pero kilala po sila as partner po.
Yes, hindi sila active, kaya sila silent, pero kilala sila as partner. So the answer for number 3 is false. Next question. A partnership may be established for charity. True or false?
True, sir. True, sir.
False po.
Bakit Angelo false?
Kasi po dividing the profit po yun sa partnership. Wala pong profit sa charity.
Exactly, that's the correct answer. The answer is false. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-create ng partnership kasi nga, one of the essential element of a partnership is you must divide the profit among the partners. So, paano ka gagawa ng isang partnership kung ang gagawin mo is charity? Then, so, in case of a charity, corporation ang gawin mo. A non-profit corporation. But this is not applicable for partnership. And last, a disadvantage of a partnership over a corporation is the partner's unlimited liability. True or false?
True. True.
Yes, Jessa, very good. Yes, Arthur. The correct answer is true. So for your assignment class, I already uploaded the exercises or the activities that you need to answer in our Google Classroom, as well as a material for the entire discussion for chapter 1 that we have. The basic concepts as well as the accounting for partnership formation. So meron ng material PDF file dun sa ating Google Classroom na pwede niyong balikan at basahin. Aside from rewatching this video discussion that we have. So mas maganda rin na meron kayong binabasa while you are listening to this discussion that we have. So that is already available in your Google Classroom. You just have to access it. Kung may printer kayo sa bahay, much better i-print niyo. Now for your assignment has a composed of different set of activities. True or false, multiple questions, and problems. For true or false and multiple choices, there is a Google Classroom, rather Google form that will serve as your answer sheet. So yung sagot niyo doon sa true or false at multiple choice, i-click niyo na lang doon sa Google form. Doon kayo magsasubmit ha. And now for the problems that will require the computation, sa Google form, doon sa last part nun, doon kayo mag-upload. Picturean nyo lang po yung mga journal entries ninyo as well as your solution. Tapos i-attach na lang po doon. Then submit that Google form. The deadline of your assignment is this Thursday. We will discuss that on Thursday. Then we will now proceed with the accounting for partnership operation. Nakapag-form na tayo. Now, let's now account it once na nag-ooperate na. Magde-distribute na tayo ng profit sa mga partners. So, any questions before we end this discussion? Now, class, naka-order na tayo ng books last week pa ha. So we are expecting by this week dumating na yung mga libro nyo. Itatawag naman sa akin yan ng school pag dumating na yung libro. Kasi inform ko kayo, kuhanin nyo na dun sa school. Again, yung before dumating sana yung book, makapagbayad sana tayo ha. But for those na unable to pay it, pag dumating yung book mismo, doon ko na kayo pagbabayaran sa sa school na. Pero yung mga kaya pa magbayad sa akin, magbayad na ha. Ayaw kasi ng school ngayon na patatagalin yung libro doon ha. Dapat lahat ng umorder makukuha yun.
Sir, hindi po namin, kailan po
Yes.
ipapamigay yung libro?
Pag dumating, na-order na. So, definitely, nasa shipping o nasa courier na yan. I-deliver. Hintay na lang natin pagdating sa office.
Sir, i-upload niyo po itong recording.
Yes! I-upload natin to.
Thank you po.
So any questions, class? Please do not hesitate to ask or raise any questions or concerns.
Sir, 2 p.m. po yung deadline sa Thursday.
Yes, 2 p.m. Di na ako mag-a-accept ng after 2 p.m. kasi sasagutan na natin yun, ha? Ayoko may gagawa sa inyo na hihintayin after discussion natin tapos doon magsasubmit para perfect. So hanggang 2 p.m. lang ako mag-a-allow ng submission ng assignment ninyo. So class, any questions? Any concerns? So if none, thank you class for attending our discussion for today. Please study at do the reading ng materials na ibinigay ko sa inyo sa Google Classroom. Have it recap, refresh yourself para pagdating sa mga quiz ninyo, malapit na magkakaroon na kayo ng quiz sa atin. Makapag-review na kayo ahead of time also. I will announce naman kung kailan yung magiging quiz natin. So again, class, thank you. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to message me in Messenger sa group chat natin. So it's been a good afternoon to everyone for attending our class discussion. So thank you, class, and stay safe, everyone. God bless.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po, sir.